The staff of Professor Coston have been working around the clock to make it possible that all of you could feel comfortable and then to give your very best as we co-create this together. I'm going to talk on the food sovereignty debate as it has happened within the Vegitrade project. I would want you to spend about 15 seconds to reflect and think about one cannot twist perception to fit the reality one wants just because that reality is increasingly unsatisfactory from your perspective. Use 15 seconds to think about that. And then, since I am back home, I want to share an African proverb with you that if you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go with others. I have chosen to go with you because this journey can be very tortuous. And together, I think we'll be able to face any challenges along the way. This talk, as I said earlier on, is going to be on the food sovereignty debate and Vegitrade, some reflections, the whys, the what, the how, and then pillars of food sovereignty and conclusions. It's going to be a very tough act to be a speaker after Lorenzo with that energy, but I accept that energy is energy in motion. So I will try to see if I'm able to match him. Vegitrade was contracted to work on a project, the impact of climate change and globalization on safety of fresh produce, governing supply chain of uncompromised food sovereignty. The main objective was to discuss the ethical implications of global trade in fresh produce in the light of European food law. The sub-objectives were to communicate to stakeholders at global level the implication of socio-cultural factors in the food safety policy formulation, to discuss conflicts of interest and cultural sensitivities, to communicate science-based information from work packages, and then to produce a concluding report. All of you have in your folders this pamphlet, which was promised when we had a meeting in one of our constituent meetings in Slovenia? Serbia. That was when this was promised that it was going to be made available. You could spend some time going through that. The food sovereignty debate seems evident that the debate must focus on the safety of food supply to the European Union and allied countries. The discussion must not be skewed towards third countries, and that the debate must not be political, but scientific. The response from the other side is a weak yes, but a strong but that although it affects all countries, third country smallholder farmers are the ones who are also lacking enough to eat, where they export their best produce, which more often than not end up being wasted. The goal of the debate is to craft a discussion forum regarding acceptable risk, sustainability in production, and long-term strategies for international food trade. Hitherto, the prime movers of this debate have been civil society, indigenous people, and new social movements. Conspicuously missing from the debate are academics and professional policy think tanks. However, just last year, a strong initiative was taken at the University of Yale, where they've had a critical dialogue on the food sovereignty debate. And I am reasonably also informed that initiative has also been taken at the University of Ghent, where food sovereignty is being taught as a course at the university. And that is very encouraging. If you want to measure success, you also have to measure the depth from which you are coming from. I have chosen to pick two reflections from this booklet. The first one is for Peter Spanohe. He said, "The theme of food sovereignty within the Vegitrade has directed me to an interesting issue in the world of agriculture and farming. I was totally not aware of it before the project started. The first introduction in Murcia in Spain was like Chinese to me. The presentation in Oslo opened my eyes of what may be understood by the term food sovereignty." Professor Lucy Robertson wrote, "I think that food sovereignty is difficult conceptually, and if nothing else, Vegitrade has given me greater understanding of what it means. I have always set myself very small goals so that when I reach them, I can feel good." The task, therefore, was to create awareness, exchange best practices, ensure understanding and compliance, observe and discuss practices within other work packages, and then draw ethical implications. Currently, world food systems include, among other things, growing malnutrition and food insecurity in the midst of plenty, lower incomes for food providers, agriculture without farmers, dumping and undermining of prices, marginalization and loss of self-esteem, forced migration within and between countries, loss of cultural diversity, and of course, biodiversity. What I have found very interesting is the rhetoric about food sovereignty and practice. A UNIDO declaration to both improve market access for developing countries and ensure safe food for European consumers is defeated when 75% of alert on produce from third countries and over 50% are rejected at the borders because of safety concerns. At the same time, they say they want to open for trade. And I feel it is more ethically sound to encourage intertrade among developing countries instead of exporting their best produce, which unfortunately end up being destroyed on puerile safety grounds while large numbers of their population starve. Going further, Dr. Margaret Chan, director of WHO in June last year, stated that the influence of big food is preventing sound public policy initiative is huge. He said, research has documented that these statistics well. They include front groups, lobbies, promises of self-regulation, lawsuits, and industry-funded research that confuses the evidence and keeps the public in doubt.